Hello, my fellow perma-nerds and GYOF enthusiasts. Thanks for looking at my journal today. Well, this being my first video, I will try to use the time to introduce myself, explain a little bit as to why I'm starting this series, and introduce you to my permaculture edible forest, fledgling permaculture edible forest, and also give you some insight as to the planning decisions that I've made and frankly planning failures that I've had over the last 7-8 months. So here we go. Here we have a zoomed out view of my edible forest, permaculture forest. Right now I have 4.5 guilds. Not all of them are actually none of them are fully fleshed out. I have a list of plants that I plan on putting in over the next couple of months. However, none of them are complete. What you can't see, because it is currently mid to end February here in Zone B, is just how dense the uncleared portion of the natural forest can be. So once it gets a little bit warmer and things start blooming, hopefully I can give you a better sense of just how much I had to clear to get the little bit of space that I'm currently using on my property for planting. So like I said, I have 4.5-ish guilds. They're all blocked out. I don't know if you can see, with a little bit of twine and these wooden stakes that I bought. I left just enough room to get a vehicle through. If I had to, you could probably see the space in between the two wooden spikes where the hose is going through now. If I ever had to bring an ATV or my pickup truck back there. So here to the right, approximately where the hose starts to this stump here on the left is one of my guilds. Right now I have 4 trees in there, 2 pear trees, 2 pomegranate trees. One is a cold hardy pomegranate, the other one I believe should be planted in zone 8 and below. Like I said, I'm in zone 7B, so it may not survive, although I anticipate over the next couple of years this area to transition into zone 8A, so I'm taking a chance on some of these zone 8 plants. In this guild, currently I have 5 raspberry bushes, 2 blueberry bushes, some sage, some oregano. I've thrown out a bunch of seeds for perennials and annuals. I have Good King Henry, hopefully germinating in this area. I have some edible flowers. I believe lavender is one of them. I also have a schisandra, small schisandra vine that I planted a couple of weeks ago. You probably can't see it. I'll do a deeper dive video on the plants that I have, but just to give you an overview of what's currently in this guild. In all of my guilds, I have, or across my entire forest, I have planted Bocking 14 Comfrey. I only did that about 2 weeks ago, maybe less. I bought 20 crown cuttings of Comfrey. The instructions said to bury it completely, both the root and the exposed crown, completely to about quarter to half inch below the top of the soil. Some of them have pushed through their leaves up to the surface already. Many of them haven't. I am slightly worried, although I know it's a pretty hardy plant. So hopefully in the next couple of weeks, as it gets warmer, I'll see those come through as well. And like I said, I'll do a deeper dive in some of my guilds, but that was essentially zone 1. This is the second guild that I've started building. It's one of my four more complete ones, even though none of them are complete. So it starts here on the right where the wooden stake is, goes across this this, I don't know, 2 foot wide patch of topsoil that I've dug through the wood chips that I have, and it goes all the way to the left to the edge of the exposed cardboard that you can see. So in this guild, I have 4 trees. I have three persimmon and 1 avocado. One of the persimmon is chocolate. The other 2 are fuyu, and then this struggling avocado tree that you see here, that is a cold hardy avocado tree. It's supposed to begin its viability in zone 8. Again, I'm in zone B, so I am taking a chance. So altogether in my food forest, I have, I believe, 17 or 18 trees. I started this in June of 2021. Currently we're in February 2022, so what, 8 months that I've been working on this. One of the mistakes that I can say for almost certainty that I made was not looking at the weather patterns in my area. Specifically, I did not know that we were in a moderate to severe drought in North Carolina all of last year. So when I planted, I mean, really everything through about November, I watered every day for the first 2 weeks, every other day for the subsequent another week or 2, and then after that I didn't water anything. I expected the rainfall to be sufficient. Well, in November or maybe December, I was doing some burning as I was clearing some of my property, and one of my neighbors came over and explained to me that we were in a burn ban in North Carolina due to the drought. First time I'd heard there was a drought. So I immediately went out and bought, if you could see it, I'll show you in a moment. But I essentially set up an irrigation system with hoses running to each of my guilds, and I had set those to water every 3 days for about 30 minutes. Since then, I've continued to plant trees. Most of them came bare root. A few of them, like the avocado, came in a bucket. I don't know what the word is for it. So I am genuinely concerned for the majority of my trees. I'm concerned for all of my all of the bushes that I have, except for the blueberries. I can already tell here in mid-February toward the end of February that they're starting to bloom. So I'm not as concerned for those. But none of my trees have broken dormancy, and a few of the trees, even before we had colder weather here in November, December, were struggling. I mean the leaves for like 2-3 months were just hanging on for dear life. So I'm hoping, obviously, ideally, that all of them survived. If not, bare minimum, maybe one of each type, even though they're different varieties. So as it starts to get warmer, I'll show you more about that. This is the third of my guilds. Not complete, just like the rest of them. It is probably the smallest of the 4 by area, not necessarily by plant density. So in this guild, I have 1 cold hardy Russian pomegranate, as you can see here, 2 cherry trees, and 1 peach tree. I believe for sure the tree with the green marker on it, that's the peach tree, and then these are the 2 cherry trees. I believe one is a sweet cherry and one is a sour cherry. The one on the right struggled, but I'm almost certain went into winter alive. The one on the left hadn't had leaves since, I want to say, July, even though I've continually done a scratch test, and it seems to be alive. So I'm hoping, now that I cleared some of the wood chips, put some topsoil, and I'm starting to put in some companion plants this early in the spring, I'm hoping that it will come back to life in the next month or two. What else do I have in this guild? Right now I have something like 20 strawberry plants. Don't remember the variety name. Again, I'll do a deep dive down the road, but I do remember one of the planting considerations was to have a variety that sent out runners very aggressively. Some of the other things that I have in this guild are two raspberry varieties. One is a yellow raspberry, one is a black raspberry, and those are freshly planted. And then I have a very small unknown variety raspberry that I planted 7 months ago, maybe more recent, but I don't believe that is going to survive the winter. Here we have the last of my more complete guilds. It's about equal in area to my first largest. It is I wouldn't say the least dense of the four right now. I have 2 trees. One is a peach, one is a cherry. I have 2 blueberry bushes. I have a cold hardy kiwi that I put in a couple of weeks ago, and I do believe it survived, and so hopefully in a couple of months I'll show you the progress. At one point I had planted 6 sweet potato slips, only one of which survived, and actually when I do a deeper dive, I'll show you just how far it spread its runners. So I'm very pleased with that. I have no intent on harvesting that for quite a while. I want it to spread as much as it can. I'm almost positive that the miner's lettuce has sprouted, and that a couple of weeks ago in early February, I actually threw out some mixed carrot seeds, just out of curiosity, to see if they would germinate, and see if they would survive the earlier spring cold. In this little section right here, you could see some of the miner's lettuce. Those are seeds that I actually threw out last summer. They survived the winter. They've been this small since then, but I anticipate that they're going to get larger as the weather gets warmer. All right, so why am I doing this? Well, it's fun. Some people like to hear the sound of their own voice. I imagine I'd be accused of being one of those people, but mostly I'm doing this to get criticized, and hopefully get told what I'm doing right. I know that I'm not following some of the best practices for permaculture, edible forests. I want to say I'm doing that on purpose, but honestly, I'm being lazy, frankly. I've put a lot of work into this in areas that I essentially have no choice, right? Clearing land, sheet mulching with cardboard and wood chips, right? I have to kill a lot of the native and invasive not edible species. Not just non-edible, but no use to me or the system. I've planted things that I'd like to get a head start on, right? So I bought fruit trees that are several years old, took the time to dig out the dirt, plant them, monitor them. Same thing with the bushes. I'm being lazy in other ways. I'm not germinating anything inside because I don't want to take the time to then transplant it. I'm throwing out the seeds. One of the mistakes that I made, I believe it was a mistake, was taking a lot of the seeds that I bought in December, putting them in moist paper towel and putting them in the fridge to cold stratify them. The reason I started that cold stratification in December was because a lot of the packages said that they needed 4 to 8 weeks of cold stratification. Well, we were having a particularly warm December in North Carolina. I think daytime mid-50s, if not 60s, nighttime of, I want to say, high 40s. It didn't get really cold until January, when we were having nighttime temperatures many times into the mid-20s. So I was worried that a quote-unquote natural cold stratification wouldn't work for these guys. So I want to say the second week of December, put a lot of them in the refrigerator. Beginning of January, I threw them out. I figured, okay, worst case, we'll have a mild, continue to have a mild January, and I've at least given them a chance in the refrigerator. Best case, we continue to have warm weather. They germinate mid-month, and we'll go from there. Well, we had, like I said, an intense cold streak, intense for this area, and I'm pretty sure I lost most. I mean, many of them started to germinate, and I lost almost all of them. When I do a deep dive on the gills, I'll show you just how much bare space I had compared to the area that had germinated seeds. So, in any case, back to my purpose. I want critique, right? I'll post these videos. People will tell me what I'm doing wrong, what I can do better. Maybe I'll be able to answer some of your questions. By no means am I some sort of horticulture expert or expert on anything green and plant-like, but I've looked at a lot of content that is out there. I'd like to think that, at least for myself, I've aggregated a good amount of useful information and correct information, and hopefully I can pass that on. But if I continue to lose crops, you can at least see the steps that I took, and maybe do better for yourselves. Let's see, why am I planting my own food? Why am I starting a permaculture forest? Well, it's fun. I do enjoy working on my property. I'm originally a New Yorker. I live here in North Carolina now, and I part of why I bought my 1.3 acre property was to develop it and plant and grow my own food. Am I slightly concerned about the global logistics issues that we're currently having toward the end of the COVID-19 pandemic? Sure, not to the point where I'm genuinely concerned that my family and I are not going to have enough to eat from the supermarket. But it is always nice to know that I have this insurance policy, if you will, and the safety blanket that I can come out here once the productivity of the system increases. Then I can come out here throughout the year and pick my own fresh food. And long term, of course, if hopefully not, and odds are not, but if society collapses, I'll have started this years ahead of that, and I'll have a productive food forest that I won't have to worry about starting from scratch. Well, I guess that's it. So I'll post this video. Hopefully, I'll get one out a week. Please like, share, and subscribe. Most importantly, comment your critiques. Tell me what you can see from this initial video that I've done wrong, and maybe give me a little bit of credit for what you can see that I've done right. So again, thanks again for looking into my permaculture journal, and I'll see you guys next time.